Hello viewer, I'm on a roll here, but it's not a large roll. Yes, I'm going to talk about something, a bit of a weighty issue that comes up with Jehovah's Witnesses from time to time. It's something certainly I thought about once or twice when I looked around the congregation around me, and it was it's not a small issue, it's quite a massive issue, and it's in relation to Jehovah's Witnesses and obesity, or gluttony. Gluttony is they called in the Bible. Now, the interesting thing about this particular weighty issue is that, bizarrely, there's nowhere in the Bible references smoking. You know, obviously, people never smoked fags. You know, when Jesus was around, like his disciples never went around for a quickie behind the bank sheds. Nobody was smoking. Nobody was smoking at all. You know, it wasn't like, you know, all the disciples there and one of them had a problem. You know, he didn't have to say to one of them, I want you to become my follower, but you need to pack in the fags. It never ever happened because he never smoked. So, as we know, smoking is a relatively new phenomena. And in the early history of Jehovah's Witnesses, yes, they allow people allowed to smoke. And then it became, as I said, obvious that there was a tangible link, which is not even tangible. There was a link between smoking and dying, and as a result, the witnesses then had to go into the scriptures and try to misapply or apply, whatever you want to view this, some scripture in relation to smoking, and one that I don't know the scripture at all, but it's on being clean in body and mind, and they were saying, you know, if you smoke, you can't be, because really you're damaging your body and you're showing disrespect to your Creator for the body that He's given you, because you're ultimately doing something which is damaging your body. So you can't be clean in Jehovah's eyes because you're doing something in complete opposition to this one scripture, or maybe two, perhaps three. But gluttony, well, you know, gluttony, the overeating, in the Bible, they did have it in those times. Yes, this problem of overeating, of being a glutton, of becoming obese, is mentioned in the Bible not just once or twice, many times. There is, you know, there have been people overeating for years and years and years, thousands of years, and that's why it's brought up in the Bible. There's at least 25 to maybe 30 references in which directly mention being a glutton or a lover of food as being something that Jehovah or God disapproves of, you know. And then if you want to misapply all the scriptures that you refer to, maybe for smoking, it's the same thing. Because these days, as we're really aware, there is a strong link between overeating or obesity and the effects it has on somebody's body. Now, beforehand, it used to be, you know, a roly-poly person. Maybe, you know, the only thing that you thought was that they struggled to get out the chair. They struggled to get out the chair. That was maybe the side effect of being a bit of a fatty. Or trying to get out of a car, it was a bit of a struggle. Or if you went on the ministry, the fatty would sit in the passenger seat in the left, because if they sat on the back seat, everybody would be like this, driving to, you know, trying to get to the ministry. And nobody wants to drive to the ministry like that, because of course you've got your suit on and your big jacket and your bag. And so that was it. So really it was just seen that being overweight was just a burden on themselves in their mobility, or the fact that they'd have to regularly you know, they'd struggle to get clothes in their size. Or to bring in the shopping because the bags were so massive. You know, it was things like that. So, the fatties within the congregation Well, they're not bad people. They're not bad people. You know, they're friendly, jolly, roly-poly people. They're not bad people. They're not bad people. They just, you wouldn't want them when, you know, basically, if the brothers were all playing football on a Saturday, probably the fatty would be the last person to get picked when you're choosing sides, and you'd maybe stick them in goal for the whole game. Yeah, or maybe in defence, but that's about it, because obviously they wouldn't be able to run up and down the pitch. And a game of rounders, that they're never going to make it to the first base, not a chance. And yet, bizarrely, you know, now it's not just a case anymore of the drawbacks of being a glutton or obese, or purely because you're crap at sports, or you're going to constantly have to, you know, amend your wardrobe, or you're going to, you know, you're not going to fit in a small car, or you're going to overlap your neighbour's seat, or whatever it is. It's not that anymore. It's not a funny thing anymore, although I'm trying not to be funny here, blasé about it. Now, these days, you know, all of a sudden, how we figured this one out, that there's a strong link between being obese and a whole range, a whole plethora of physical illnesses that you can get. One of them's cancer, funny enough. One of them is cancer's been directly linked to being obese, and then there's, you know, the strain in your heart, and it just goes on and on and on and on, you know, just this and that and the other, and oh my God, it just goes on and on. Being obese and the things that can happen by overeating or being a glutton far outweigh the things that can happen if you're a smoker. So, hey, here's the big thing. This is why it's a massive issue. If being obese, clinically obese, and not about just being a little bit overweight, but if being obese is so detrimental to your health, and showing such disrespect to the God has given your body, and the fact that you just love the cake, and that you're really just thinking about food all the time, and that you just can't, are you eating that? Oh, thank you very much, and you need your second breakfast, or whatever it is. How come nobody that I can ever remember got disfellowshipped for being a greedy bastard? I know people who got disfellowship for smoking, you know, enjoying the odd fag and getting caught out, and, you know, I love the fags, and, you know, and they got caught smoking. And I know people who got caught smoking, couldn't give it up, and were disfellowshipped because of the implications of being a smoker, being addicted to that. But what about people who are addicted to eating? Come on, it's the same thing, and it has worse results, you know, to your body. Not, you know, I know a lot of smokers who can still run up the pitch, and you don't let them in goals, and they can run all around the circuit on rounders. You know, you don't mind sitting in the back seat in the car with them, because the smoking doesn't make them fat. It may eventually give them cancer in like 30 years, or you know, a dicky throat, but it doesn't really impact on anybody else. But with a fat person, you're always having to make allowances for their wideness, for their girth, and struggling to go up the stairs when you're on the doors, or getting into a lift, or, you know, making sure there's enough on the plate, that sort of thing. And it's bizarre. When was the last time there was ever local needs on overeating, on gluttony, and rattling out all these scriptures? When was the last time? When was the last time there was a local? When was the last time there was a local needs on there, and a public reproof? A public reproof because some brother had been seen out in a pub having a drink and having 2 desserts. When was the last time? He was a bit greedy. He was greedy. When was the last time somebody was publicly reproved for having 2 desserts? If the same brother was sitting there having a normal meal, no dessert and a fag, it's a public reproof. If he's sitting there having a pint, a meal and 2 desserts, not a problem. Not a problem, even though those 2 desserts, you know, as it goes on, will eventually end up this guy getting a whole multitude of illnesses and dying an early death. Not a problem. If you want to kill yourself from being a glutton and overeating and being obese, that's fine. Smoking, it doesn't make any sense. And yet, if you scanned your average Kingdom Hall, I don't want to name names here because literally I could roll out hundreds of names of people who were obese, not just slightly overweight. You know, everybody, even I'm slightly overweight, and you just can't help that, especially as you get older. But I'm not about people who are clinically obese, you know, who were just, let's face it, fat, just fat. You know, I'm not on about those. I know there was elders who were fat, there were elders' wives who were fat, there were sisters that were fat, there were even circuit overseers and district overseers who were fat. No wonder they were fat, because they were going to a different person's house every night getting a 3-courser. Oh my God, they're probably thinking, no, when was the last time I had a salad? Oh, come on. It makes no sense. So for instance, we get somebody who's coming along into the truth, and you say to them, you're a lovely person, you've accepted the truth with all your heart and you want to come to the meetings, but before you get baptised, I'm afraid I've got to let you know, you need to pack in the smoking. You can't be baptised as a Jehovah's Witness if you're smoking because of me misapplying this scripture and that scripture to you. Do you understand? Oh yeah, I do. Okay, I get the point. And if you go back to smoking, I'm afraid you'll get disfellowshipped as well. Okay, so once you're packing, leave it out. But they never ever say to the potential wide person who starts waddling into the Kingdom Hall, oh, by the way, you know, you're a lovely person, you know, but I'm afraid, and you don't smoke, that's good, but you've got to cut down on the cake. No more cake. Have you ever thought of eating a salad? You've got to at least lose 3 stone before we allow you to get baptised, because after all, if you get baptised that size, you know, the water will go all over the place. It never happens. The witnesses will accept fat people, embrace them from all over the world, and never ever will bring into question the fact that they have a problem with obesity, with gluttony, which could potentially end up with them having an early death. And all related health issue problems never comes up. And yet the Bible is clear time and time again does it mention people who overeat as being gluttons. So there's something not quite right here. And why the double standards? Why the double standards? And you know, at the end of the day, is in my mind, if you want to overeat, it's up to you. You know, it's up to you. If you want to overeat, it's up to you. It's your personal choice. But the end of the day is, if you're allegedly adhering to Bible principles, and you're an organisation who tries to make sure that those Bible principles are adhered to, why do not Jehovah's Witnesses come down strong on people in the congregation who overeat? Where's maybe somebody should do questions for readers. If they still do that, if they still do questions for readers, maybe somebody should bring it up. But I don't think it will. Maybe it's because when you look at the governing body members, a lot of those are particularly chunky as well. You know, when was the last time these guys saw either a treadmill or a salad? But anyway, in heaven they'll have perfect bodies. Well, that's just a thought on it. You know, obviously it's you know, you can laugh about it, but it's you know, it has serious questions, and it is things that I thought of when I was a witness. I can never get round this fact that I was not surrounded, but within the congregation there were so many people who clearly were overweight, and yet it was accepted, but if you had too much to drink or if you smoked, you know, you're in big trouble. Anyway, who knows? Bye bye.